Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Wednesday, February 10th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories right here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. Here are the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Attorneys for a motivational speaker charged in the deaths of 3 people during an Arizona sweating lodge wasted no time going on the offensive after his arrest last week. James Arthur Ray's lawyers appeared on Larry King Live and granted interviews to other national media outlets to counter prosecution claims that he was responsible for the deaths at a ceremony he led during October. The push didn't go unnoticed, with prosecutors now filing a request for a gag order in the case. Yavapai County Attorney Sheila Polk argued the order would limit pretrial publicity that could taint the jury pool. She wants the order to include Ray's employees, his attorneys and their staff and attorneys in the county attorney's office, and employees at the county sheriff's office as well. The Navajo Nation Tribal Council has approved a $60 million loan that would fund public safety and judicial complexes in Tuba City, Arizona, and Crown Point, New Mexico. Upper Fruitland Tribal Delegate Lorenzo Bates says judicial complexes and jails across the reservation are falling into disrepair. The Tuba City facility was condemned. Other complexes, most of them former Bureau of Indian Affairs buildings, have stood for at least 30 years without renovations. The $60 million loan complements $74 million in federal stimulus funds for jails in Tuba City, Kayenta, Arizona, and Rama, New Mexico. About 50,000 people are arrested each year across the 27,000 square mile reservation, but currently only 59 jail beds exist. A northern Idaho human rights group says a county sheriff is refusing to cooperate with the Courte tribe on law enforcement, leading to a growing number of criminals being released without prosecution. The Courte County Task Force on Human Relations called for the Idaho legislature to pass a bill that would allow Idaho tribal police officers to arrest non-tribal members who violate state law on the reservation. The proposal, introduced at the Capitol this week, would require those arrested by tribal police to be tried in state court. Tribal officers would have to be certified by the State Police Academy near Boise, as Coeur tribal officers are now. Other tribes, including the Shoshone-Bannock and the Shoshone-Paiute tribes in southern Idaho, wouldn't be forced to participate in the program. Nearly 1,000 people gathered Monday for the funeral of Phillip Martin, the former chief of the Mississippi Band of Choctaw. Martin served as the tribal chief for 28 years until his defeat in the year 2007. He passed away last Thursday after suffering a massive stroke on February 1st. The Clarion Ledger reports that only 150 of the mourners at his funeral could be seated in the Holy Rosary Catholic Church in the Tucker community. The rest stood outside shivering in the cold. The Reverend Bob Goodyear told mourners that Martin will always be recognized for the prosperity he helped bring to his people. The 3 affiliated tribes is getting some federal help with community development efforts on the Fort Berthold reservation. North Dakota's congressional delegation says the tribes are getting a $900,000 grant through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to improve housing and economic opportunities. Senators Byron Dorgan and Kent Conrad and Representative Earl Pomeroy, all of Democrats from North Dakota, say the lack of adequate housing in reservation communities is a critical issue for tribes. The Crazy Horse Memorial will host a journalism workshop for American Indian high school students this April in South Dakota. Journalists and educators from around the country will volunteer their time April 19th through the 23rd to teach a condensed course about the fundamentals of journalism. Students will report and write articles, take photographs, and produce multimedia projects that will be published online and printed in a newspaper. There's no cost, but students must be selected through an application process. High school juniors and seniors will be given preference. As part of the 15th annual Arctic Blast, the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe in Minnesota and the Minnesota Vikings will host a pancake breakfast to kick off the event and raise money for charity this coming Saturday, February 13th, starting at 9 a.m. till noon. Activities will include autographs and pictures with current and former Viking players, visits from Vikings cheerleaders and mascots, inflatable interactive games, football toss and kick games, face painting, and prize drawings. For every meal purchased during the event, $1 will be donated to the Mille Lacs Band Community Youth Foundation, and the Vikings will donate an additional $2,500 to the foundation. At 11:45 a.m., Chief Executive Marge Anderson and Secretary-Treasurer Herb Wias will accept the donation on behalf of the Mille Lacs Band. Current and former Viking players and cheerleaders will be on hand at the Grand Casino Mille Lacs Events and Convention Center at Onamia, Minnesota. And we want to remind you that for this Saturday on February 13th, watch for the live feed for the WOJB's annual hand drum contest from the Courte Reservation, and we'll be live feeding that for the afternoon and evening on IndianCountryTV.com in the featured channel. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. Miigwech for joining with us. Come back again.